If anyone is listening, the interpreters can't hear anything. If anybody can hear me, this is the sign language interpreter, and I can't hear the presentation. Therefore, I'm not interpreting anything.
So I asked members of the staff to share some things about her, and here's what I found. From Miss Elizabeth Jones, the assistant principal. Principal is defined as a person with the highest authority, the most important position in an organization, institution, or group. We use that word to describe the leader of a school, but it does not do that person justice, especially Mrs. Erica McDonald. I've had the pleasure of working with Ms. McDonald for the past 2 years at Colton Middle School. She is one of the few I have seen who is so dedicated and willing to put kids first. She believes that kids are the highest authority and that they are the most important position in the school. Every problem she has to solve, every decision she makes sure that she puts kids first. She knows the purpose for her being principal is because she wants to do what is best for students. She wants to make changes, implement programs, support teachers and the community for the kids she is servicing. She takes time to talk to kids, makes it her goal to be present on campus and let the kids know she is there. She is out on campus in the morning before school. She walks the halls during passing periods, and she is present at dismissal at the end of the day. Mrs. McDonald is a true leader that empowers her staff, teachers, community, and most importantly, the students she services. From Ms. Diane Miller, I have been at the school only a short time and quickly learned what a great place this is to work. Mrs. McDonald sets a great tone and inspires you to want to come to work and do your best to serve our students, parents, and fellow co-workers. I spent most of my time at the elementary level and was somewhat apprehensive to move to the middle school. But she goes above and beyond the call of duty in the care and concern she shows for our students, parents, and staff. I've observed her out on campus, encouraging students to get to class on time and helping the custodians pick up trash during lunchtime. Wow, and that's her words. From Miss Marich, the math MESA teacher, in my over 25 years teaching at Colton Middle, I've never experienced a leader such as Miss McDonald. She fosters a high learning environment for all students, involves staff with decision-making, and creates a positive culture on campus. She is well deserving of this award. Mackenzie Kelly, science teacher and PBIS coordinator. Erica is one of the best leaders I've had the pleasure of working with. She is a positive force on our campus and demonstrates patience and compassion with our students. Often when things are going well, we overlook the role that the principal has played in that stability. Her guidance, leadership, and positivity have been a driving force at our school site, and she is greatly appreciated. Robert Olmos, English teacher, Ms. McDonald has unequivocally been a great mentor in my administrative program by supporting me every step of the way. She exhibits the same traits as a principal by being a strong advocate for all our students while recognizing and showing gratitude to her staff. She is also pushing us to develop our capacities by listening to all ideas and encouraging us to take chances. And last but not least, from Nidla Campos, our SRO at Colton Middle. I want to say congratulations to Erica for all of her hard work. It does not go unnoticed. Her and the staff at Colton Middle School have been amazing to me. Not only is she supportive of her staff, but I feel she is very fair. For the couple of months that I've been working with her, I can see how much love, dedication, and passion she has for her campus. No matter what issue arises, she keeps pushing forward and handles her business, even on dress-up days like Spirit Week. I love working with her. I love working with her staff, and I love being on her campus. Thank you, Mrs. McDonald. And on my behalf, congratulations, Erica.
Congratulations, Mr. McDonald, and thank you for everything you've done. Yes.
Another round of applause for our management staff, Erica McDonald. And last but not least, our education partner, I would like to recognize Ms. Michelle Dalton. She is the owner and clinical director of Access. And here to honor her is Rob Pearson, director of PPS.
Good evening, Vice President Ibarra, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Miranda, Executive Cabinet, and members of the public. Tonight, we are celebrating an educational partner, Michelle Dalton, who is a certified behavior analyst that works closely with Colton Joint Unified School District and PPS by providing us with valuable behavior staff as we work through our current staffing issues. Michelle Dalton, in the past or a different life, has provided behavior support, training, and numerous resources for our students with different abilities, special ed teachers, general ed teachers, administrators, and support staff. She first came to Colton Joint Unified School District as an autism program specialist for our East Valley SELPA. As a behavior specialist, Michelle was called upon to work with staff and students on some of our most challenging cases. We consider her the behavior whisperer. Michelle spent many days observing and working directly with students and staff. She modeled evidence-based behavior strategies, always making sure that staff knew how to implement her recommendations, answering their questions and concerns, returning for numerous follow-up visits to review progress and modify the plan as needed. Michelle takes on each new case with a positive outlook, common sense approach, and is not afraid to interact with even the most physically challenging students. Michelle was always available when we needed her and understood the urgency of our requests. Michelle now runs her own non-public agency, Access, and employs many behavior interventionists. And CJUSD has contracted with Access, and we now have a number of her behavior interventionists working with our students. Michelle herself still provides in-person support and always comes when we call. We recently had a tough situation where a staff and family were having difficulty getting a student onto a bus to attend the program that the student was placed in. She could have simply assigned a staff member to the case, but instead she went to the student's home each morning to help him get on the bus and work with the family and staff. I believe you even rode the bus with him a few times, yes. We're proud to say now that student is attending school daily, and she has faded her support from that case. Michelle is still sharing her expertise and skilled training for students and staff, and oftentimes works pro bono. Michelle Dalton goes above and beyond her job description to help our students. She truly has a heart for all students and students with different abilities. She is Colton's go-to expert in behavior. Michelle is deserving of our undying gratitude and the special recognition. Thank you, Michelle, for being a valuable educational partner with the Colton Joint Unified School District.
I feel nervous. I don't know why. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I was so honored and so surprised, I guess, at the same time for this award. And it means so much to me because I've been a part of Colton for a lot of years. And, you know, my mission and goal in life is just to support where the need is. And Colton is so close to home that, you know, PPS, they're amazing. They're kind of like my work family, even though I don't work with you guys, with them. I just feel like we have that, you know, that trust and understanding, and we just work so well together, just, you know, looking out for the best interests of our students, our families, our staff. And I just so much appreciate being able to partner with you guys to serve our students, families, and our staff. Thank you so much.
Congratulations and thank you for all you do for our students.
Thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Yes.
Thank you for being
Another round of applause for Michelle Dalton, our education partner. And Human Resources would like to thank you for the opportunity to recognize our Employees of the Month this month. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next month.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Just want to take this opportunity to thank all those who were recognized today. Thank you for all your efforts, your support, and your dedication to Cone Joint Unified School District. Also just want to mention that it gives me great pride for our district to continue to recognize all those employees and community members out there that serve on behalf of our students here at Cone Joint Unified School District. And I want to thank Director Cervantes for continuing the tradition of bringing in and all these wonderful employees so they could be recognized. You know, it's a fact, and I don't mind saying it, that many of our employees don't get that needed pat in the back. And we work long hours, we do a lot of things, and sometimes they don't hear the simplest thing like thank you. So when they get recognized in this way, I think it's wonderful. And I just want to make sure that we as a district will always continue this practice in the years to come. So thank you very much. Okay. We're going to move right into 4.0, which is a public hearing. Item 4.1, public hearing concerning the public disclosure requirements of AB 1200 for the certificated salary adjustment for the 22-23 school year. At this time, I will open up the hearing and ask if there's anyone that wishes to make a public comment. Okay, nobody rushing to the podium. Okay, so with that, I will go ahead and hit the gavel one more time, close the public hearing, and thank you for your participation. 5.0 public comment, item 5.1, which is the announcement regarding public comment for items on the agenda and items not on the agenda. For public comment, each speaker will be invited to the podium and should begin by stating his or her name and residing city. Board bylaws 9323 state that individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agendized item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 15 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. Thank you, Superintendent. First person, Lisa Villa.
Good evening. I'm Lisa, and I live in Colton. Good evening, board members and everyone in attendance. I'm still here hoping and praying things were different at Colton Joint Unified School District. Yes, we do have some great people that work here who truly care about student and staff success. But at the same time, you also have some people that are not about those same goals. The security managers put a lot of unnecessary liability on the Colton School District. Most of us didn't even have our current CPR cards, including the security managers. School safety is vital, more so during these times. It should be of the utmost priority of any school's daily function. Currently at Colton Middle School, we're at a ratio of 1 campus security to 500 students. This is reckless and irresponsible. As a matter of fact, our campuses have been running short daily for years now. How are our security managers not held accountable for this? What solutions are the security managers coming up with to make sure our campuses are adequately covered? Can we at least hire an abundance of noon aides to help at all our campuses as a deterrent of bad behavior during lunches and after school? The more eyes, the better. Instead of student and staff safety being a priority for our managers, they are busy abusing their power. Just last week, they held interviews for a 12-month campus security job. They interviewed people from within the security department. Instead of us just transferring someone by seniority, which is the logical thing to do, they took 4 to 5 security people off the campuses to do a whole interview process for a job that's not even a promotion. We need all these security people watching our campuses. It was a waste of time. And on top of that, this hiring process only creates even more division with an already divided and ununited security department. How did they decide who was going to get the 12-month position? Was it based on their perception of merit? We already know about their perceptions of merit, their judgments, and their decisions. They are all vindictive, personal, and unprofessional. I would have more respect if Dr. Ortiz did the hiring for the security department because there is mistrust in our security managers. Take the hiring process, the transfer process, and the endless opportunities for the security managers to abuse their power out of their hands so they can focus on what's most important, student and staff safety. Any security supervisor should have a law enforcement background, someone that has worked out in the community and streets and that has actual law enforcement experiments. This knowledge is crucial and vital and a vital characteristic that is needed to lead a whole security department. If our security managers are going to have such high accountability and expectations of us who are out on the actual front lines, you should even hold a higher standard for the security managers who get paid a whole lot more than us. You, the board members, are continuously allowing their reckless decisions by the security managers. What is it going to take for you to realize that the security department is in such disarray? And when are you going to hold the security managers and make them held accountable and make them lead by example?
Thank you, Ms. Villa.
Welcome.
Next person is Pamela Townsend.
Good evening, Mr. Ibarra, fellow board members, Superintendent Dr. Miranda, and members of the audience. My name is Pamela Townsend, and I reside in Riverside, California. I have been happy to be a part of the work in reaching a TA between the districts and ACE's negotiations team. We are happy that over 98% of our voting members agreed that this was an acceptable agreement. I am looking forward to a yes vote from our board tonight. I am eager for this agreement to be in place as we are well into the year. We are eager and ready to begin work on the 23-24 contract. It would be great at some point if we would have a settlement prior to the beginning of the school year. That's, of course, pipe dream, but someday we'll get there. I thank you for your attention to this TA.
Thank you, Ms. Townsend. And Chris Neiman? Or Neiman? Okay.
Good evening, Vice President Ibarra, members of the school board, Superintendent Miranda, and our audience here tonight. My name is Chris Nyman. I live in Colton, and I teach 4th grade at Wilson Elementary School. My second career is chair of ACE negotiations. My job as chair is to lead the ACE bargaining team, and our team's mission is to negotiate competitive wages from year to year, pursue affordable health care for all of our members, and to improve contract language between the association and the district at the negotiations table. This evening, I'm here to report that, as we all know, the ACE negotiations team and the district's negotiations team were able to reach a tentative agreement in all these areas, in addition to some other areas for this current school year. I'm also here to support this tentative agreement and to recognize the school board, Dr. Miranda, and the district's bargaining team for your commitment in reaching this fair and competitive settlement. This demonstrates hashtag CJUSD cares. Our membership agrees, so much so that nearly every voting member of the association voted yes in support. ACE looks forward to your support as well. This 2023-2024 tentative agreement is both sizable and meaningful to our members. In fact, there hasn't been a tentative agreement of this size and substance in well over 20 years. Hopefully, this fact doesn't alarm anyone, because when we look outside our district, this tentative agreement is in line with our immediate surrounding areas. This includes Riverside, Alvord, Yucaipa-Calamasa, Redlands, and the Jurupa Unified School District. Other nearby school districts settled early before they had all the details of the 2023-2024 school year, so their agreements are slightly different. In any case, we all know that inflation has been rising over the last year. We all feel it at the gas pumps, the grocery stores, and many of us in housing costs. This tentative agreement alleviates some of these increased costs to our members. This tentative agreement also helps our members with more affordable health care options, and most importantly, puts our district on the right path to fixing the existing structure of our Kaiser insurance coverage. This fix is a step forward for all stakeholders, including ACE, the district, Kaiser, Blue Shield, and CEBA, the organization that manages our benefits. ACE believes this proposed move helps our friends and colleagues at CSEA as well. On another note, I want the entire school board and Dr. Miranda to know that it was a very productive work year with Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Brandon Dade, and his entire negotiations team, including Kathy Cervantes in HR, Maria Amanda Sarabia in Fiscal, Mary Dublé in Risk and Safety, Missy Kingston from Student Services, Rob Pearson at PPS, Dr. Moore at LSS, Ms. Roman from BHS, and Ms. Aguilar Munoz at Ruth O'Harris. Under Mr. Dade's leadership, new ideas and new insight have been brought to the negotiations table to not only listen to problems the association has identified within our district, but to actively seek out solutions that improve the district in totality. A great example of this is with the proposed changes to health benefits for next year. I don't want to get into the details at this moment. However, Mr. Dade will be first to tell you that this issue alone was time-consuming and no small task to resolve. In the end, however, this move will better position our district in years ahead. Thank you, Mr. Dade, and to your team. The ACE bargaining team also wants to acknowledge Liz Pacheco in HR. I'm not sure what her exact title is today, because every time it seems like she's worn many hats in HR, but she is one of the people behind the scenes on the district side that coordinates and schedules and keeps the records of all the events from negotiations. And I'm pretty sure it's safe to say we'd all be out to sea without her. Thanks, Liz. As chair of ACE negotiations, I do want the board to be informed about one area where negotiations can be improved in the near future. That is with the timeliness of future settlements. Other districts have been able to settle before a new school year starts. Our district was the last to settle in the entire area. Now, it's not anyone's fault, because most of this is a result from COVID, staffing changes in HR, staffing changes in fiscal, all that are now resolved. And this time around, both sides needed extra time to fix our district's healthcare. Now, this is the opportunity to take another step forward in reaching timely settlements. Hopefully, the board, Dr. Miranda and Mr. Dade will expect to be settled in the fall of 2023 and 2024 for next school year. This is just one way we could continue to improve ACE negotiations. Once again, on behalf of ACE, the ACE bargaining team, and our entire membership, we appreciate the district's efforts in reaching a fair settlement in this round of negotiations. We are happy to hear CSEA has reached an agreement too. With that, this is a great moment for our district, our staff, and ultimately our thousands of students.
Thank you, Mr. Nyman. Are there any more cards, Joanne? Thank you very much. Okay, thank you for all those who spoke. We'll go ahead and move right into our action section, action items. There are items 6.1.
I don't know, he's gonna submit a card right now.
Items 6.1 through 6.36. At this time, I would entertain a motion for approval from any of the members of our board. Okay, so I do have approval for Mr. Flores and second by Mr. Fuentes. Are there any items that any of the board members would like to be considered separately?
6.33.
6.33, okay? Any other items? If not, the board will take a vote. We're looking at items 6.1 to 6.32, 6.34 to 6.36. So at this time, we do have a first and second. I will call for the vote. All those in favor of those items as presented to the board indicate by stating aye. Anyone oppose? Anyone abstain? At this time, we're looking at 6-0, Joanne, and those items do pass. Now, if I can bring everyone's attention to 6.33, and I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Thank you, Pat. And a second by Mr. Fuentes, okay? Now, on 6.33, any comments, questions?
I just want to make a comment.
Yes, please.
I just want to thank our bargaining team. And I want to thank the ACE bargaining team. And I agree. I hope someday we'll be able to do it in the year that it is happening or before. But thank you both to both teams. I know that you worked very hard to coming to some agreements. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. And I could also agree that what Pat said, that I think that we need to give a round of applause to Mr. Day, the bargaining team, all the members who really worked hard. And I would like to offer a round of applause at that time too for them. We do have our representative, our president, Christina Perauchi. Also, thank you, because I know that you are the matriarch over there. And you really worked hard to help make things go. So thank you for that too. Thank you, Pat. Okay, we do have a first and second, Mrs. Haro and Mr. Fuentes, 6.33. We'll go for the vote. All those in favor indicate by stating aye. Aye. Anybody oppose? Any abstain? We have 6-0, 6.33 passes with great pleasure. Yes. And that makes our superintendent happy. He did the silent clap. Okay. All right. Let's move right into our administrative reports. 7.1, any questions on disbursements? 7.2, any questions on the change order for the 900 Washington Suite 100 remodel? No? Okay. No facility update. At this time, I'd like to take the opportunity to invite our ACE president, Ms. Perauchi, to the podium, please.
Good evening, esteemed board members, Superintendent Miranda, cabinet members, and members of the audience. My name is Christina Perauchi, and I have the privilege of being the president of Association of Colton Educators. My team said pretty much everything. I felt like I was superpowered tonight. I have somebody to my right, somebody to my left. So I'm only as strong as my team is. So I like that matriarch title. I do want to say thank you. Thank you for voting for item 6.33. I was confident that it's not going to be a problem, but I did want my team to show the appreciation. It's been a long negotiation because we kind of went from one year to the next year. kind of continuous because of COVID and because of all those MOUs that we did during 2020, kind of pushed everything a little bit down. You do remember in 2020, we did 40 MOUs just for ACE. So I know we had long conversation and many conversation with, I like his new title, Mr. D-Day. I like that. So we really appreciate it. We're looking forward to start 324. I know we're talking about IBB, interest-based bargaining, so we'll see how that's gonna start and where we're going with that. But for now, I don't want to talk about anything else. I can breathe now, and we can see the benefits, the retro checks, and we're hoping to, now that CSA is done, I know management is waiting to see what's going on with them too. So good luck, guys. Now it's your turn. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any CSCA representatives?
Good evening, board members, President Thorin Ojeda, board members, Superintendent Dr. Miranda, and members of the audience and persons online. Never done this before. If I get it wrong, I'm just reading what Anthony Guadarrama, the president, told me to say.
Be comfortable.
Yeah. My name's John White. I'm a senior mechanic over in the transportation department, currently a site rep coordinator for CSCA Chapter 244. I'm sure all you are aware, yesterday we settled negotiations for the 2022-2023 school year. I'd like to thank our CSCA negotiations team. Many hours went into prepping and meeting with the district, as well as, I think it's pronounced Mr. Dade? Little side note, I can't stress enough how much of a pleasure it was working with Brandon Dade and Kathy Cervantes, the entire team. I don't know who all else is here. Tiffany, Mary, Maria Amanda, and I think everybody's favorite person in the room, Aslan Davis. She did a great job for us in there. I'd like to, let me see here. I'd like to thank all of our ACE brothers and sisters as well for always being by our side and supporting us as much as we support them. And thanking the superintendent, Dr. Miranda, and the entire board for supporting CSCA. Like I said, countless hours spent prepping and meeting at the table, many spirited conversations with the district side, as well as our own team. This is Anthony, and I think he's paraphrasing. If a wise man once told me when negotiating, if both sides walk away feeling that they didn't get everything that they wanted, it's probably a good deal. That's totally paraphrased. If you've heard it, then you know what I'm talking about. We addressed areas of concern for all of our members and enhanced other areas. These changes will have a positive effect on our members, which in turn will have a positive effect on our students and many members of our community. A lot of our members are from this community. So again, thank you to everybody who was involved, and it was very successful. Whatever you got to do, I look for many more years working with the team over there, so do not let Mr. Dade and Kathy Cervantes or any of them leave anytime soon. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You did wonderful. Okay. Okay, any MAC updates? Any representatives?
Good evening, Board President, Vice President Ibarra, board members, Superintendent Dr. Miranda, and members of the audience. I am excited to present today on behalf of MAC. See if it works. Okay. We'd like to share some of our AXA upcoming events and some save the dates just to make sure that our members are informed so they can begin registration. We do want to celebrate, as we mentioned previously, Dr. Tina Peterson for Admin of the Year event. So please make sure you save that date for May 1st. It's at the Hilton Doubletree, Ontario at 5 p.m. We also have our Women in Leadership Network events. There's a QR code there on the presentation. We encourage our women in leadership to register for some of the regional events. We have a Lead with Pride coming up on May 3rd through 5th in San Diego. And then we also have an opportunity for our classified educational leaders. There's an event for Region 12 on May 18th through 19th. So we want to make sure that everybody is aware of some of those events. They get engaged, they get checked in, and participate with our AXA members and family.
Yeah, that's great.
We have a legislative update presented by our new legislative VP for MAC, Mr. Abbott.
Thank you, Ms. Roman. Good evening, Vice President Ibarra, Superintendent Miranda, Board of Education community members, and staff. It's a great night to be a district employee here with ACE and CSEA. They all work extremely hard and they're dedicated to our kids. And so we're really happy that they were able to get what it is that they were seeking and they absolutely deserve. So looking at April 17th, 21st, in person in Sacramento, legislative action days each year, approximately 400 education leaders throughout the state bring their regional teams to Sacramento to advocate for California's 6.1 million students. AXA staff, along with experts in the field, will provide members with briefings and guidance on current issues in education, as well as offer the tools to directly lobby the legislature. It is during this time you can hear the legislative priorities and advocate for leadership, equity support, and investment on behalf of California's students and educators. Our region, Region 12, is currently endorsing Dana Carter for AXA State Board of Legislation. You can see his information there. He is employed by Yucaipa Calamesa, doing some really good things over there. And with regards to keeping promises, you could see that Mr. Assistant Superintendent Fromm will have way more information regarding this than we will with the governor's budget. So next up, the amazing Miss Hampton.
All right.
Good evening. So there are a few updates. We have attended in the past for, well, most of the equity representatives from the region have attended our equity representative meetings, and those are committee meetings that we have been invited to by Dr. Mooney and other leaders in the work. And we actually reviewed the equity tool that was co-developed by Dr. Mooney. So it was really awesome having our last meeting and looking at that tool. We have an upcoming meeting coming up on March 7th. And then there is an Equity Institute that is coming up in Napa in March that is also going to go over more. You'll see the invitation there, a call for social justice. So that's going to be the theme for this year's actual meeting. And then we have legislative action days, as Mr. Abbott talked about. That's going to be happening in Sacramento. And then it's going to be going over some of the principles. So the principles, one of them specifically is equity. And if you take a look at it, it says AXA will take legislative and statutory actions that, and in bold, break down systemic barriers that limit the success of historically underserved students and advocate for policies and practices. So we are focusing on that for Ledge Day. That's just one of the many principles that are followed by AXA. And then also CJUSD Equity Task Force as a district, those in the box are the things that we're working on. And so we met for the first time on February 27th. Really took a look at what's the definition of equity. We looked at different words and how they are defined in various organizations and districts close to us. We looked at the equity policy that we already have in place. And then we had a lot of transparent conversation, and that transparent conversation is what the group really wants to continue to drive. And then we're just looking at how can we as a task force drive the work in Colton Joint Unified School District. So amazing group of people. We have certificated, classified, and management that are represented on the team, and they're all from various departments and elementary school, middle school, and high school campuses. So we really have a great group of individuals, and we have a total of 39, and now there's someone who's going to be contacting me for 40. So we have 40 people on the team, which is absolutely amazing. And so our next meeting is going to be on April 3rd, and we're definitely looking forward to continuously meeting to continue this work for Colton Joint Unified School District. And I am going to bring up Miss Tierra Durham.
Good evening. I have the fun part, but this is to shout out and encourage all of the amazing managers that we have in our district. We know that the work that we do is heavy lifting day in, day in and day out, and a big part of our success is leaning on one another. So we want to encourage all of our managers, current and new, and those that are looking forward to join our team to join MAC. Our current goal is to get to 50. We currently have 44 members. We're allowing our new candidates to come in at a discount. Membership dues is $35, which includes our lovely MAC shirt. In order to join us, we have a QR code to get connected with us. You can make those payments either by digitally, cash, or check. But we look forward to growing our management team, and we look forward to working together.
Very good.
All right, I think I missed one of the slides, so I'm going to go back a few real quick. Oh, there we go. Just like our ACE members and CSEA members announced our negotiation team members, MAC would like to formally say thank you to our MAC management negotiation teams for certificated and classified. And I know that it was already shared who the members are, but just in case someone was not listed there, those are the members of our negotiation team. And we just want to say thank you so much for all the countless hours that you've put in to help reach a settlement and agreement. And we thank the board also for supporting those. Have a wonderful rest of the evening, everybody. Thank you for your time today, and drive home safely.
Okay, thank you, Mac. Yeah, give him a hand. Yeah, excellent report. Okay, we have no ROP. We have a meeting next week. And so I'll move right into our superintendent's communique.
All right, thank you, Vice President, Mr. Ibarra, board members, executive cabinet, and members of the audience, and those online too, because we are online through YouTube. The first slide, please. I'm going to try to keep it really short this evening, and hopefully we get a little bit earlier. So first thing I want to talk about is actually a special board meeting. I've let the board know through board correspondence that I've discussed with Board President Joanne Thornaheda about a special board meeting to conduct a governance workshop with the board. So the governance workshop is going to be facilitated by Gary Rutherford, who is a retired superintendent. I think he spent at least 15, 16 years as a superintendent. And the purpose of the workshop is going to be to discuss the governance structure along with protocols, expectation, and we've been working on a draft of a governance handbook. So we want to get that finalized. Additionally, in correspondence, the standards of conduct were shared with the board, which were adopted back in June of 2019. So perhaps the board may wish to readopt the standards or embed them in the standards or embed them in the governance handbook that we are putting together here. So I'm asking the board to select a date, and as protocol calls and practice, I've put together 3 different dates here for the board's consideration. So the first date is Tuesday, April 4th, starting at 5:30. And let me just add that, one, these dates have been approved by Board President Joanne Thornaheda, and 2, we only have 1 board meeting in April, so this would not really be an extra one. So Tuesday, April 4th at 5:30 is the first date. The second date is Thursday, April 13th. That's at 5:30. And the last date is Thursday, May 4th. Now, that is before a regular board meeting. And let me add one more point to this, that this special board meeting would be an open session board meeting of discussion. And would be conducted here in public. So members of the public would be welcome to attend. So with that, I'm asking for a date and we can start planning that date out. Well, we've already have, but
I would prefer the 4th, not that I wouldn't love to give up an extra night to spend with you all if we're already going to be here. I'm happy to schedule it, get off a little early and just schedule on a day we already have a meeting.
okay.
May 4th. I'll just get off early from work.
Okay. Ms. Sandoval, May 4th? May the 4th be with us. Okay.
So the force is with
We're
us.
going to need the 4th, right? All right, sounds good. So thank you for that, board. So we will go ahead and put that on the calendar. And again, this is a public meeting. And just looking forward to the rich discussion with the board. And our facilitator, Gary Rutherford, is outstanding. So he is in contact with Board President Joanne Thornhill and myself and Joanne Medina. So we look forward to it. All right, so let me move on to the next slide. And let me update the board, provide a board, our design plan. In the past, what we started three years ago, we called it the DSDP plan, the DSDP process. Now, the design plan is what we call this, the CJUSD design plan. And so this past week, myself and Executive Cabinet met with the advisory team. And again, this is the team that oversees the implementation of the plan, and then they report to Executive Cabinet. So there's a lot of teams there. They are the folks that are holding us accountable for the implementation of the plan. Again, we don't want just the plan to look nice and put on a shelf. We want to actually implement. And there is so much happening. It would take me hours and hours, but future, I plan on updating the board here at a board meeting of what is happening, what we're doing in terms of implementation. So the liaisons of the advisory team provided updates, and we talked about what support we were listening to Executive Cabinet, what kind of support we can provide them, what resources they need. And there's so many working groups that, you heard from Ms. Hampton about the Equity Task Force. That's one of the working groups, but there's many more than that. So as we discuss with the advisory, we talked about the next steps and really what we're really focused on, two things, alignment and coherence. How do we align our strategic plan, which is the LCAP, to the design plan? And that's critical. That's how you build coherence across the board and alignment. So that's what we want. That's what we're working towards. That systems redesign that we talked about at the very beginning, because there's a lot of systems in our district that is very complicated. So we're trying to create that alignment and then coherence. So I want to thank really Dr. Peterson and her leadership at Services for really working behind the scenes and putting together all the advisory teams, the liaisons that are working so many hours on this for not only their work, their efforts, their leadership, to bringing this plan to fruition. And as you can tell, this is very exciting for me, Superintendent, to bring this together. We're working on the marketing and making it stick, the branding of it. And so at the a future board meeting, and I'm thinking probably in May, I'm going to provide a more detailed update to the board with the team so that the board sees the work that's being done and, and how we're moving forward with the implementation and execution of the plan. So that's a brief update, and things are happening. And last slide, please, in our district. So last thing we'll talk about is Read Across America. It's happening in our district. I know many board members out there reading to kids, reading to students. I've had the opportunity to go out there and read to a kindergarten class, first grade class, and it's been awesome. So Read Across America is in full swing across the district. Many sites are conducting events. You see parents, you see staff, committee members
board members, just a lot of folks are participating in this week-long event. So really, I want to thank Executive Cabinet, or along with Executive Cabinet, I want to thank Angela Chavez, the principal at Smith Elementary. Executive Cabinet, we're out there on Tuesday. We just had a great time, and honestly, it was really hard to go back to the office after you're there hanging out with kids and reading. And they ask great questions. And last story I'll tell you is when one second grader, third grader rather, he says, "I remember you in second grade." And I said, "You do?" He said, "Yeah, you had a brace on your knee." I said, "Yeah, do you want to hear the story again?" He goes, "No, I don't." No. That just, I'll tell you, that just blew me away that this kid was just hilarious. And so, and when they start raising their hands, they start asking questions, and I always lie about my age, of course. All right. So with that, thank you to principals. I see a lot of principals out there and staff. Obviously, you can't do without your staff, for the invitations. I apologize that I can't get to all the events. I wish I could, and just spend all day out there with the kids and all of you. So it's very exciting, great work, and I want to thank personally Eric Richardson for the Dr. Seuss hats. Those were so cool, and we're gonna wear them in Executive Cabinet. Don't forget on Tuesday. All right. So with that, I'm gonna turn it back over to you, Mr. Ibarra.
Okay, thank you, Superintendent Miranda. At this time, we will go into 9.1, which is our board member comments. And I'd like to start with Board Member Bertha Flores.
Thank you, Frank. I first of all just want to point out that this was a good week. The band festival was a huge success, and I just want to thank our outstanding staff, our directors, our band directors, and our music teachers that share the love of music with our students. So that was a highlight. Another highlight is we're about to wrap up Dr. Seuss Read Across America, and I've been able to visit a few schools, and I'm just really touched by the welcoming that we get from every staff, from every school. I was especially loved seeing the high school kids visiting the schools and reading to the children. We had Bloomington High School at Zimmerman, and then today I think we had Colton High School at Grant. I don't know Grant Terrace, I haven't gone that route, but I really like that. They're the best models for our little ones. I also want to thank the police department, the fire department, everyone that takes time from their day to come and spend time with our children. I personally take my own books. Sometimes I have a bag, and, I just walk in the classroom and I get the feel of, which direction I want to go, and then I'll pull a book out of my bag. But I was curious about a book. Everybody kept talking about it. The Dragons Love Tacos. So I asked at Grant, I said, I want to take that book. So I did. I went to a second grade class and I read that one. So if you haven't checked it out, it's a cute book. It's a nice book. So anyway, thank you for everyone for the efforts that go into planning these events that mean so much to our community and our students. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bertha. Board Member Pat Harrell.
Still looking for the button underneath. Okay, I want to also, I think Ms. Flores and I were like following each other because we were all showing up at the same schools, like almost simultaneously. Rogers, Lincoln, Bernie, McKinley, yesterday, all wonderful events. I especially want to give a shout out to new principal Tabrisha Lang and her amazing AP Aldo Gonzalez. They had a fabulous Read Across America. And I just want to make sure that I give them applause because they were just really great. Today was Grant. We went to Grant, and it was really great at Grant to see that former principal, Patrick McGinn came, and they had former teachers who had retired came back to read. It was like all home week there. It was great. So I just, and then today we did Cooley, Terrace And I ended my day at Crestmore, and I was in Miss Cover's class. And many of you know that I have dachshunds. And I read a book called Circle Dogs, and it's about dachshunds. And basically, it tells a story of these dachshunds, and the whole idea is how they sleep in a circle. And when I was done reading the book, I shared with the students pictures of my own rescue dogs that I have at home. And I even managed to get a photo of them in a circle. And these kids were just asking tons of questions, had a blast, and it was great. Thank you so much for having me in your classroom. So I really, really appreciate that. It was a lot of fun. And so I want to also, I want to bring up some other, that was the fun part. Now I want to bring up some of the a little more difficult things. I just want to ask some questions. The graduations, I've been getting emails and I've been getting texts and I've been getting calls in regards to how we had to do Bloomington High School, and not so much Grand Terrace, because I know they have something big and fancy planned, because they always do, because they're amazing, but from Bloomington parents who are upset that we're not going to be at the stadium. And honestly, I wasn't able to answer them what happened. I just know that it happened. So if we could find out, I mean, I would think if we have our graduation last May, like as soon as it's over, we book it for the next May, so this doesn't happen again. I don't know what happened, and I couldn't give them any answers, but they're not happy. And I just wanted to, so that we have a plan in place for this year, when we do graduation, that we know in May of this year to make reservations for next year, or however we do, whatever we do, but we can't have that happen again. Just they're worried about parking, they're worried just about everything. So I would appreciate that we formulate some kind of plan so that doesn't happen. Also, for the last year, I have been bringing up about the Colton High School NJROTC. I've been bringing up the Colton High School NJROTC for about the last year, and what was happening with the lack of enrollment and what we were going to do. And I know that we did work to get, Tina would work to get them partial credit for PE, but a lot of the problems happen, and this is happening with a lot of our outside programs that our teachers are facing. Since we came back from COVID, numbers are down, like in the band program, they're down in the choir program, they're down in the ROTC program, because our students aren't being put into these programs. But my concern is, when I brought this up over a year ago, was the fact that we were being warned that we were going to lose this program if we didn't get our numbers up. And here we are a year later, and we didn't do anything other than the PE credit to get those numbers up. And that really bothers me. My daughter was a 4-year NJROTC cadet, and I know the value of that program. It's not meant to make kids go into the military, but it does a lot of other great things for these kids, especially for those kids who need that kind of rigorous attention. So I just want our district to look further into what we can do. I know before COVID, they allowed the one of the advisors, and they allowed the kids to go down to the middle schools. And after the advisor did a brief talk, he let the kids do the talking. And he let the kids tell them about their experiences and what they do. And then they did since they have all the different drill teams, they did a drill team exhibition and showed them what they do. And their numbers went up because the kids wanted to join. And then COVID hit. And so we weren't being allowed to do that and come down to the middle schools. And I'm asking to find out if we can do that again, if they can go to, and before they start picking out their high school classes, they need to see what is out there. and they don't know. I mean, choir is choir. They know choir, what they do, they sing, but things like that. I think that really helped the program back then to get our numbers really up. Because I know Bloomington High School is at 103 kids. So, we're there, but we're not. I mean, so I just really want to talk about how important that program is. And in board correspondence, we were again told about the Apple Scholarship going away. And this is another one that just really breaks my heart because, the money that we raise through these scholarships are so important to so many kids, and not to have this available. I mean, we even do scholarships in ROP, and to not have this available for our kids is really disappointing. And I would like to ask with board consensus, if we could please get something about what's going to be happening since we're not going to have this. We have to have some kind of other plan of what we're going to do for these kids that we service. Because I don't know the exact number, but we gave out quite a few scholarships. And some of those kids, I'm still friends with them on social media, and they'll tell me, that $2,000 I got paid for my books for 2 years. I mean, they really appreciate that money. And so I really want to know what we're going to do instead of this, because this is really tough. And the last thing is that I've been out visiting sites and talking with teachers and talking with principals. And I have a lot of comments, and I'm going to share some of those comments from that I've heard, because I'm not going to read them all because there were a lot, but the ones that I thought were really important. One of them was about new teachers receiving 3 hours of training. The one who spoke said she didn't even get trained on Zangle. But because she came from another district, she kind of knew how to wiggle her way around it. I mean, I think Zangle, that's how we take roll, they need to know how to do those kind of things. But she had 3 hours of onboarding, but that was it. So I think if we want to keep new teachers, bringing them into the district, we got to give them that training. We got to take that time to develop them, to keep them here. Elementary students that are coming out of independent study are coming out even further behind than sometimes when they went in. I think that's a tough for them to come out of there and then put into the mainstream with the rest of the kids. We're doing a disservice to those kids because they're still not ready. I was asked today actually it was kind of like they got together. It was 2 separate sites, 2 separate elementary sites that asked me, we always do a school showcase on the high schools, and that's great. But what about, can other schools come and do a school showcase? Can a elementary school, if they have something great going on, can we come and do something? We want to share the great things we're doing. And I said, let me ask, why not? Sounds like a great idea. I loved it. I thought it was fabulous. I was asked also where kids are getting behind. Is our district, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I was told that our district still has the 10-day symptom leave. And when kids are out for those 10 days, they, hopefully they're given a packet or whatever, and then they come back and they're behind those 10 days of what they missed in the classroom, and they're falling further behind. So other districts in the area are not doing that any longer. So if we could look at that. Also, something that was brought up, subs. We got plenty of subs now. That's great. But they asked If subs could have access to Go Guardian when they come in the classroom to work with those kids. It's a great tool. They can watch the kids, see what they're doing, the good and the bad, and correct them. But subs don't have access to it. So if we could see, maybe give them a one-day password to it, or depending on how many days they're going to be subbing for, whatever it is we need to do. And the last thing I just want to say is teachers are tired, and we're barely at the beginning of the second half. And we all know that the second half goes faster than than the first quarter or first part of the year. And this year, the comment that I got the most, which really broke my heart, was this year, teachers and principals have received the least amount of support from the district than they ever have. And I actually cried when they told me that one, because I'm very proud of the position that I hold as a board member. And I'm very proud of the principals and our classified workers and our teachers that work in this district. And to hear that they don't feel supported, that hurt. My quote this evening: "Dear tired teacher, when the expectations begin to feel impossible, remember that because of you, today someone smiled. They learned something new. They became more confident, and they felt loved." To all of you, don't give up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Haro. Before I move on, I identified several requests that Ms. Haro made. Just one for clarification, and Pat, feel free to correct me if I'm mistaken, okay? First thing, she was requesting for the district to take a look at what are the possibilities of continuing to reserve the stadiums for graduation at an early date. Now, anytime that I feel that we're asking our employees to do additional work, I like to have a consensus for the board if we're going to move forward on doing that, so that it could be directed for our superintendent to look into that. So the first thing I'd like to do is to see if the board is interested in giving consensus in taking a look at what is the possibility that we continue utilizing the 66er Stadium for graduations, and is there a way that we could adequately, timely get dates so that we could maybe not do it this year, because I know the situation for this year, what happened, but for next year and the years to come, so that we have options at that time. Would the board be, yes.
What I would like to do is, I would like to get input from principals, and maybe they have give us an indication of what does that community want to do. So I don't want to make that decision of, okay, we're going to go back to the stadium until we hear from the principals, whether we want to continue keeping them at the site, at our home stadium, or get the 66ers. I mean, it's
A lot of it will be contingent basically on how it goes this year. And primarily, the request was from Bloomington High School. And a lot of it has to do with the parking. And I know how difficult the parking is there. And I could see the rationale for asking that particular question at this time. So
okay. So we're just making that assumption.
yeah,
that we are going
we're just going to see what would it take for us to, and if it's possible for us to be able to reserve it at an earlier time that would allow us to utilize that stadium for graduation purposes. And it's information. It's basically information. We're not making a decision at this time, but I would anticipate information at first. Bernice? Okay. Is
Information,
information.
period. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, Dan?
Yeah, I'm good with it. Just bear in mind, we not only have to have our calendar adopted and squared away, but the 66ers, because it's literally during baseball season, so they won't take a reservation sooner than a certain date or time. So yeah, absolutely. How far out can we plan it?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of variables there, including the stadium telling us even what availability
And
looks
that's
like.
true too.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And Pat, okay. Okay, that's the first one. So we do have consensus on at least just taking a look at what are our options. Okay, the second one, which I think it's also very, very doable, was our choirs from the high schools being able to go into our middle schools and giving demonstrations, performances. And the objective of that is to encourage our middle school students to want to join the choir once they go into high school. ROTC. Oh, ROTC. Did I say choir? Okay. ROTC. I'm sorry. The ROTC. Okay. Joint choir too. I don't know why I have choir here. Okay. So ROTC. Now, for many of, well, I can't say for many of you. I can say that for me because I've been around. But I remember when we first started ROTC, started out in Bloomington. Excellent program, very highly supported, very wonderful instructors there, and has served our students in that community very well. I would hate to see that be eliminated due to numbers. And I would like to ask a consensus of the board at this time to see what the district can do to help encourage the enrollment in ROTC. And if demonstrations or maybe I would approach the ROTC leadership and find out what they think they can do from their end, along with the principal at Bloomington, to see what they can do so that we could encourage more participation. It's a great opportunity. And one of the things that I encourage is that we need to get our students interested in doing their work at school and enhancing their education. So everyone good with that one? Yeah, okay, all right. I like this one, the elementary school showcase. I think that would be interesting. I know the calendar only provides for so many, but what Ms. Harrell said was the fact that if there were an elementary school who would love to showcase, that they would have an option to do that.
Vice President,
Or
can I
middle
add-
school.
I'd like to see the middle schools too,
Middle schools.
elementary and middle,
Elementary
yeah.
or middle school, okay.
I'd love to
yeah.
see that, yeah.
This is a workable conversation. Elementary school, middle school, and we would open the door to that. Hopefully, we don't get too flooded. But what say you? Everybody likes that idea?
I think it's be great to discuss or see on paper. Just bear in mind the number of schools that we have, and we only have about 20 meetings a year. So in theory, we could go more than a year. Yeah, because we don't even have 24, 2 meetings a month. We're about 20 a year. So we can go more than a year before we see one of our schools comes back. So it just logistically, it could be very interesting. I think it's a great idea. We definitely want to know what's going on our campuses, but yeah, I'd just be curious how that could look on a
And what we
rotation.
could do is allow our cabinet and our
exactly.
experts to
Figure out what that could
make
look
the-
like.
Yeah, the parameters of that.
I wouldn't even mind having a high school and an elementary school or a middle school present the same day. So if something like that, usually it doesn't take more than 10, 15 minutes of what they do. I think we take longer in their comments than what they do. So I'd love to see.
I'd be okay reducing board comments to allow them. to
Yes,
talk.
I'll do it. I'll make sure I do that.
Yeah, we could save everybody, unless you like the comment.
We'll give them the time, and then board comments could be next year. Yeah.
And then the last one that was brought up was the fundraising plan for scholarships. And, obviously scholarships have been a highlight of many student academic career as they exit our district. And it would be interesting to see if the Apple program is going to be move on, so to speak. What are our plans for? Yeah, and I'm assured that we do have plans. So I'd love to hear that when you get an opportunity.
You got it.
You know, when you get an opportunity, okay? You know, I know a lot of people might be hungry right now and stuff. We want to get you home. Okay. All right. Thank you, Pat. So we're good with that. Ms. Sandoval, you're up.
Just a few concerns from some parents on the middle schools. I've been hearing about the safety for a long time. Security guards are not there. We're really short on securities. How many securities do we need for the middle schools? How often are we posting it? You know, because I've been hearing it for so many years. My kids are in middle school and I've seen fights most of the times, twice a day, once a day. There's no week that I don't see a fight in there. So I think we really need to put a lot into the security and the safety for our kids and the teachers, the staffs, because kids, they don't see anything. They're going for it, for the fights, and they don't mind the consequences. So, and that will be all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bernice. And that's also an issue that I brought up a while back. So I'm hoping that that can be addressed or taken a look into, because I've still gained parents with the same complaints. Yeah. Okay. And I'll be more specific, Cone Middle School. So you guys know. All right. Israel.
Thank you, Vice President Ibarra. I'll be real quick. You want to put the timer on? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Just wanted to share a couple of some of the events I've been to. The CJUSD Health Fair. Ms. Duplay put on a real awesome health fair. A lot of great vendors were out there. There was an awesome DJ out there too. That was DJing the event that evening. And so he's playing some great music. People were dancing all over the place. But you know something? CJUSD, the health fair, is a very important, I think, for everyone. There was a lot of great information there. I did get the opportunity to dance around and get to meet some of the vendors. Some of the information that we're sharing, you know, you had dentists there, you had doctors there, you had insurance, et cetera. But there's a lot of times we have questions we don't know. This is the opportunity to ask. They're there, man. They're there, and they're baking cookies right there too. So there was one company that was baking homemade cookies there and everything. But the most important thing about having the health fair, and I think this is one of the things that I saw there, was the information that you can gain from these people. So take advantage when we have events like this, health fair, whatever events, community cabinet, all those things where you can get great information. I invite you to come out. The other one is the band festival. That was phenomenal to see our elementary, our middle, and our high school students play. When they said the elementary students are gathering to play, wow, it did not seem, I mean, it seems just like a regular orchestra of students playing. It was amazing. I just want to congratulate each and every one of those students that play an instrument. I know Mr. Flores, his son, plays also. You know, back when I was in elementary school, I did play the clarinet, and that started off today. I play the bass, drums, sing, play a little bit of keyboards. But you know something? It's a phenomenal part of having music in your life. Music changes things, changes lives too. So I commend our directors, our band directors from elementary, middle, and high school for the hard work, the passion that they are putting, and the commitment they are putting onto these students. And when you become a music major, a lot of things happen. So congratulations once again to each and every one of you. And once again, thank you. Thank you for coming out this evening. I know it's getting late, and I know a lot of people are getting ready for dinner and they're hungry, so I won't say any more. And I think I made it below the 3 minutes. So thank you. Have a great evening. God bless.
Thank you, Israel. Dan?
I'll be brief as well. I just want to thank, again, bargaining members on both sides. With our team, ACE and CSEA, there was a comment made, and it's apropos because I think we're all feeling this. Life's gotten really expensive recently, I think, for all of us. Nobody has not felt the hit. Just open up your utility bill. I mean, it's been unbelievable. Yeah, I'm still not sure how you can use less natural gas and pay more, but that's a whole other issue. But truth be told, and I've seen this in my organization, my nonprofit, where I stay up late at night worrying about the increased cost because fuel has doubled, utilities have doubled. We're trying to pay our staff a livable wage, which is, we're not even there yet. And I worry not about myself, but I worry about those that are barely getting by, those that I know are barely getting by. And we have folks in this district who work for us that we know qualify for Medi-Cal, CalFresh, these benefits because, you know, they're at a level where they're just based on income, they qualify. So this is an indication of our investment in the greatest resource we have, which is our people. Hiring, recruiting, retaining, and showing the staff that we have at all levels that they matter and that we want to do what we can when we have it and when we can. That really is what this is about. So I hope it solidifies that commitment that the board has, and we have a lot of conversations about investing in our staff because we know how difficult it is. So I appreciate the conversation and the fact that we're continuing to improve things. So thank you for that. And then lastly, there was some conversations today. We discussed a partner that we have that supports our students with special needs, and it's not something I think we discuss enough. But every student, every person in our district that touches the life of one of our students with special needs, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is something that goes unsaid, but for the parents that have students in our special education programs, I have a close friend whose son has profound disabilities. He's in another district, but I hear their stories. I hear the struggles, but I also hear the joy in when they talk about their son, the way that I talk about my son or my children. That love and passion is still there. Those milestones might be a little bit different. Those triumphs in the day may be a little bit different, but they're no less impactful. They're no less important. That when you hear your child, your little one who may be delayed speech, start to communicate again, and really for the first time, and express themselves. We have a little boy in our women's home who came in and didn't say anything at all. And over a series of weeks, our staff working with him and with the mom, he's starting to communicate. He's starting to talk and share his feelings and be a kid, what he likes, what he doesn't like. And those are the moments that you really recognize that's what we're here for, and that all of our students can learn, and they're all amazing in their own way. So for everybody that works with those students, thank you for what you do from the bottom of my heart and all of us up here. So with that, I'm done.
Very well said. Thank you, Dan. And I want to take this opportunity to thank for everyone that's here, hung in here with this meeting of ours. When I look at each and every one of you, I see the leadership of this district. I for years have felt, probably as much as my colleagues, how fortunate I've been to be part of this district for now 26, going 27 years. Incredible. Never thought I would do that. But when I look at you, you are our leaders. I think you have the greatest and job that you could fathom, in a sense that you're here to lead our young youth into the next decades to come. And because of that, I think that every time that you come to work, meet with your colleagues, the opportunities that you can provide not only for yourselves, for others, and for our students is incredible. I often go out and say that I think we have one of the best districts in this Southern California region, and I believe that. I take a lot of pride in being up here, being your vice president or your board member, as do all my other colleagues, working together with our superintendent, his cabinet, and each and every one of you. But as the saying goes, as our district goes, it's because of you. And you are our leaders, and it's important for us to show on a daily basis that we're here to lead those that are doing the hard work of teaching, providing service in a variety of different capacities. And because of that, I think we have some of the best jobs in the world. Now, I always see, whether I go to promotions, graduations, those are the nice perks that we get. Those are where we see what we have done in our own little areas of expertise that allow those individual students to enjoy those opportunities. And once again, it's all because of your efforts, your expertise, your knowledge, your skills, but your leadership is the key element there. So always remember that. Always remember that working for this district, is probably a greatest gift that I think that any individual could have. Be honest with you. Because what we have to offer and the good that we can do on a daily basis, not only for our students, but for our staffs as examples, pay a great opportunity for us to make this district continuing to be in the tradition of being one of the best districts in this area. So with that, I just want to say that the Cone Georgia Unified School District Board will now adjourn into closed session to discuss the items listed on closed session agenda. Everyone have a good night and drive safely.
Mr. Dade? Mr. Dade? You need, so settle, okay, I'll tell you after.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. 8:19, Board of Education back from closed session. In closed session, on item 11.1, conference with legal counsel. During the recently concluded closed session, the board voted to approve a settlement agreement with Solar Star California L LLC, Solar Star California L LLC. On a motion by Dan Flores, second by Israel Fuentes, and voted on a 6-0 vote with Joanne Thorin Ojeda absent. The vote approved the settlement. The settlement agreement resolves a dispute between the district and the Solar Star companies regarding registration and ownership of renewable energy credits generated by the solar energy system located on the district sites, which are owned by the Solar Star companies. The settlement agreement is compromised of dispute issues and not an admission of liability or fault by either party. Under the settlement agreement, Solar Star companies will pay the district $162,000 and deregister 75% of the renewable energy credits so that the district can register items in its own name, and the district will release any claims against Solar Star. Item 11.2, student discipline revocation. There was one student discipline item presented in closed session. Is there a motion to uphold the expulsion order as presented? Okay, I have a motion by Board Member Dan Flores. And do I get a second, please? Okay, thank you. I guess second by Israel Fuentes. Okay, to uphold the expulsion order as presented. I will call for the vote. All those in favor indicate by stating aye. Anyone oppose? Anyone abstain? On a motion by Board Member Flores and second by Board Member Fuentes, and carried on a 6-0 vote with Joanne Thorin Ojeda absent, the board upheld the expulsion order of one student discipline item as presented. Item 11.3, student matters. Interdistrict attendance, application board appeal. There were two students interdistrict applications appeals items presented in closed session. Is there a motion to overturn the denial decision and approve the interdistrict application allowing the attendance students to remain at Ritchie Canyon Elementary? So looking for a motion for that.
Sure. Vice President Ibarra, I would like to make the motion that we overturn the appeal overturn the denial and allow the transfer through the end of this 22-23 school year only. So it would be only valid through the end of this school year. But I would like to make the motion that we overturn the denial and
Okay.
allow the interdistrict transfer application to remain in place for this school year.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Flores. I do have a second from Mrs. Haro. And that's once again to allow the the student to attend and remain at Ritchie Canyon Elementary School through the school year 22-23. In the new school year, yes. Okay. So with that, all those in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Anyone oppose? Any abstention? Okay, so on a board member, on a motion by board member Dan Flores, second by board member Pat Haro, and carried on a 6-0 vote with Joanne Thorin Ojeda absent. The board overturned the previous appeal decision of the two students as presented. And the student numbers are 10449-862, 1076739. The board approves the inter-district attendance application. The students will continue to attend Ritchie Canyon Elementary School through the end of this school year. Okay, we're good, Joanne? Okay, thank you. 11.4, personnel, public employee. On a motion by board member Pat Haro and second by board member Iswell Fuentes, and carried on a 6-0 vote with Joanne Thorin Ojeda absent. The board approved the following: certificate regular staff 2, classified coaching 2, head junior varsity baseball boys 1, track assistant co-ed 1. Volunteer coaching 6, baseball boys 2, band co-ed 1, softball girls 3. Volunteer general 25. We move down to item 11.6, personnel public employee appointment, discipline, dismissal, and release. In closed session on a motion by board member Iswell Fuentes and second by board member Pat Haro, and carried on a 6-0 vote with Joanne Thorin Ojeda absent. The board took action to approve the transfer of EIN number 7249 from principal to assistant principal. And item 11.7, personnel public employee appointment, discipline, dismissal, release. In closed session on a motion by board member Iswell Fuentes and second by board member Pat Haro, and carried on a 6-0 vote with Joanne Thorin Ojeda absent. The board took action to approve the transfer of EIN number 819 from principal to teacher. I'd like to thank Cabinet, Superintendent, and Board.